Hello everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to the career mode. I hope you're all doing well, and hopefully you've had a great weekend as well. When you're watching this, it should be Sunday, fingers crossed, all being well. So yeah, I hope you've had a very jam-packed, fun weekend. Today though, we will be nearing the end of the Premier League season. After this episode, there will only be 13 Premier League games to go, and we are getting ever so closer to seeing who is going to be holding on to the Premier League come the end of the season. If you've not been following the series, you won't know this, but in this particular season, then we were trying to essentially win the Prem. We've yet to do it with this Bournemouth team. Now today, what you're about to see is all gameplay from before the patch. EA have thrown a spanner in the works on our quest and decided to update the difficulty of Ultimate. So they've made sure to make it even harder, and a lot of people are experiencing just how hard the new Ultimate difficulty is. Essentially, all the players have 99 ratings on the opposition. Now, thankfully, the spanner in the works that EA have thrown hasn't affected us today because this, as I said, the gameplay is all recorded before that patch. But moving on to the next episode in this series, we will have to deal with the new Ultimate difficulty. And even though there is no update to the difficulty for us, I was really struggling in this first game against Southampton here. And we gave away a sloppy penalty. Didn't actually have to make the challenge here. Joe Gomez it was, after the shot come in from Danny Ings. It was a penalty kick, and up stepped Mateta, and it was a phenomenal penalty kick, bottom corner, and we could do nothing about it. So Southampton were beating us at their place. And with the first half pretty much over and done with, we were struggling to really create anything in the game, which is something I didn't expect to see, especially with a league top scorer in our ranks as well. Joe Gomez, though, trying to atone for his earlier mistake with the sliding challenge, sent Kai Havertz in, and we really should have scored to make it 1-1. We fought right until the last minute, though, trying to find an equalising goal. Martinez inside the penalty area, only to find the goalkeeper to make the save again, and we'd ended up losing our first game of the day. So no new difficulty, but we did end up losing. And that result means that we are no longer joint top of the Premier League table after the 18th game, because this was the 18th game. So yeah, a bit of an eye-opener this one. I don't believe we should have lost that one. It was one error pretty much to give away the penalty kick that I should have just not done effectively. If I hadn't have done that, we'd have probably drawn that 0-0. I don't think we did enough to win the game, but certainly don't feel like we did enough to lose it either. So yeah, disappointing, but we move on. Brighton was our next game. Decided to sim it. They were away at our place, as too were Villa. Both of these sims, a 3-1 win against Brighton into a 4-1 win against Aston Villa, meaning that we picked up 2 wins on the bounce, and following that came a test against Liverpool away at Anfield. We played against them, I think, earlier on in the season, didn't we? Already, so we know what they're capable of. And this is quite a funny stat to see. History beckons for Martinez. We know how good he's been, but it reckoned he was going to get 56 goals this season. 56! That's insane. I've never had a player go, I don't think, over 40 before in the Premier League. So if he gets there, then that's already mind-blowing enough. But Liverpool, they wanted to pile the pressure on. They saw we'd just been beaten by Southampton and fancied their chances, especially at home as well. And for the first half, we were pretty much getting dominated. I couldn't get out of my defensive third. And then a corner was sent in. We deal with the first bit of danger well. Onana comes out to punch it, but take a look at this from Sadio Mane as he skipped past the challenge and right-footed sends it into the top corner. A goal worthy of another look at it. And it was worthy of taking the lead as well for Liverpool. And he pretty much sent Anfield into eruption. Look at this quality strike. So we had to fight back. And I was up for the fight after that Southampton game. Didn't give a good account of ourselves. So let's try and do that here. However, like in the first game, Kai Havertz through one-on-one. Put it wide. £70 million or something like that we paid. Not really happy with that. So at half-time, I decided to switch it up. I went to a 4-2-4. It's something I've done a couple of times already before. It just gives you a bit more attacking freedom. But what you do lose, obviously, is now it means that you are playing a bit higher up the pitch. So the gaps start to appear. And Fabinho, thankfully for us, didn't quite get this right. If he had have done, it was 2-0 Liverpool. But we fought back and we tried to get ourselves back into it. Martinez again, look at that for a turn. And Alisson made the save. And at that point, all I could think was, please don't have one of those days, Alisson, where you save everything. But then a combination of Havertz and Martinez combine to make the chance. The back heel straight towards Arturo Martinez for him to fire it home for his first of today's episode in terms of the gameplay, and it made it 1-1. After the earlier chances we saw with Havertz, I just felt like we had to lay that back. You know, we're not confident enough to take the shot on 1v1, so let's make sure we get the goal instead. And in fairness, we should have got the 3 points. Take a look at this save from Liverpool's number 1 to deny our number 9 his second of the game, and the goal that would have surely have gotten us the 3 points from it. Incredible goalkeeping, but that is what you pay the big money for in your number 1 goalkeepers. You want them to make game-saving saves like that one there. So, yeah, we can hold our hand up and say that he did pull off that very good save, but for large parts of that game, Liverpool were the better team, as then in the second half, we kind of took over. So the draw was a fair result, a 1-1 draw, but it doesn't help us too much in terms of the Premier League itself. And after that was Crystal Palace, again at home. Again, we simmed it. You can see there, Haaland was playing. That was to give Martinez a bit of a rest because he's played a heck of a lot of games for us and done a lot. And we still won the game by 4-0. So, seems like Sims the way to go forward. But, of course, I don't want to rely on Sims because it doesn't feel like you're actually winning the league, if that makes sense, if you use all the Sims. But at the same time, I do plan on playing a lot of games in a short period of time. So, I will have to sim some games. So, what I'm tending to do is sim the games that are sort of near the bottom side of the league, if you will. And then play the one sort of mid-table / top. So that's the plan, the way I've been doing things. And so far, it's actually going all right. So, yeah, by no means are we anywhere near getting, you know, head and shoulders above any other team in the league. In fact, I think at this point, we're actually not even first place. So we've still got a lot of work to do as we accept an offer here for David Brooks from Borussia Dortmund. That was taken out of my hands, by the way. I didn't want to let him go, but he came to me and said that he was unhappy with the game time. Understandably so. We have Armada, we've got Anderson, we've got Fraser. Trying to get him into the team is proving to be a bit difficult at the moment. So, yeah, he came to me and said he wanted to leave. And at the end of the day, I had to let him go. We did get a nice amount for him, though, from Dortmund. And I'm sure he'll do a very, very good job for them. But for us, he was just not first choice here. Speaking of which, Ødegaard's come into the team for this game. And that would have been where we would have started David Brooks for this game against Chelsea. But yeah, Ødegaard comes in instead then. As you might have noticed too, there was a Carabao Cup semi-final first leg sim against Everton. We ended up winning that 2-1. So even though we're not playing the Cups, we are on the verge of a Carabao Cup final. Of course, if we get there, I will play it as a live game in whichever episode. If we do end up getting there, it ends up falling in. So we'll see how that one plays out a bit later on today. But then Chelsea, we gave away another sloppy penalty, pretty much for the same thing we did against Southampton, actually, where the shot came in. I was just late with the tackle. And in this time, though, it ended up being missed. They hit the post. So we actually got quite fortunate there for them to not find the back of the net. Although, once again, we just could not find the fluidity in our play until the second half, when Kai Havertz into the penalty area, laid it across for the club captain. Well, I say club captain, I mean captain on the day, Lewis Cook, for him to drive it home into the bottom right corner. And that was it. Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 0. There was only really those 2 chances worthy of showing you from the game. And it just so happened that Chelsea missed their big one. We didn't miss ours. So we came away with the win. It was a scrappy 1-0 win, but I was so glad to get it. I cannot tell you enough. Pure and simply just because I don't want us falling off the pack a little bit, and that seems to be how we were faring slightly in recent times. But for the next game, it was Watford. And I do appreciate as well, guys, that these games are coming thick and fast. With me trying to get to the Premier League title itself, I obviously want to try and get there as quick as possible and then have more time to work on the other series. And with time being stretched as it is on my channel already, I do have to try and get this series pretty much over and done with. The last thing I wanted to do is win the title. If we don't do it this year, I don't know what I'm going to do. So if it does prove to be that we don't quite manage it this season, I'm going to have to play another one. But like I mentioned in the previous video, what I might have to do is I guess, update or upgrade the amount of time it takes between episodes and kind of show you it as a whole season. So I do appreciate there's a lot coming your way in one video. That's why I'm trying my hardest to keep you up to date with what is going on. We were 1-0 up in the game against Watford, courtesy of a Giovanni Lo Celso strike from the edge of the penalty area before Martinez made it 2-0 after a tap-in. Couldn't miss those, and he doesn't miss those. We were 2-0 up at half-time, but we came back out second half, pretty much piling on the pressure, and made it 3 not too long later. Havertz into Martinez, off towards Anderson. Look at the pace of Felipe Anderson here to break through. And he found the corner of the goal to make it 3-0. And there is a really good goal coming up as well in this game. I think it's this game anyway. It might be the last one, actually. against Wolves, but I'm pretty sure in the upcoming highlights you're about to see, there's an unbelievable passing sequence we put together in order to score a goal. Linz actually came off the bench for this one as well, laid it across towards Martinez. He got himself a second goal, which takes him on to, I don't even remember. He scored crazy amounts of goals for us this season, and you guys are seeing just how good he actually is. Credit to Linz. Came off the bench, did the job, and that finishes quality. And with 10 minutes to play, he could have had the hat-trick. You can see here the fake shot to open up the space. That's the confidence he's playing with. And if he'd have found the finish, that would have been him taking home the match ball. But he didn't quite manage to do it. So, doesn't get it. And there is actually a consolation in the game for Watford. As nice work here in the end. Finish off by Penadara to make it 4-1. And that was it. So, full time. Great win. We move forward. And it is actually the Wolves game as well coming up that you do see the unbelievable passing sequence. So I apologise for that. Got it wrong. But it is coming up against Wolves. And after that, a couple more sim games. In fact, a few more sim games, including the Everton second leg, which we'll move on to in just a moment. Table, 23 games in, we're 4th place. So you can kind of see, even though the results have seemingly been going quite well for us, we're actually not up there yet right now. We're 5 behind Everton on the same amount of games played. And that's down to the 2 draws we had earlier and the defeat earlier. I say 2 draws. The defeat as well against Southampton certainly didn't help us. So yeah, 5 points adrift of top of the table Everton. When you consider how well that last game went, it was quite a surprise that. I expected to open up the table and kind of see us at least 2nd place, but not meant to be the case. So we continued forward. Here is the second leg against Everton. A draw would see us through to the Carabao Cup final, and that is exactly what we managed. A 1-1 draw, in fact, meaning 3-2 was the aggregate scoreline. So that Carabao Cup final we played for you probably next episode, if not definitely the one after that. And we can look forward to at least another action of Cup football, Cup final football. And we actually haven't beaten or haven't won the Carabao Cup this series yet, so it is something new for us to play for, and we'll see how we get on and who we play in that from next time out. But for the final game of the day then, it is going to be Wolverhampton Wanderers, a side that in the past I've had a few struggles with, but today that had to be said that just was not the case. 5 minutes in, we were already in front. You saw the graphic showing you exactly the amount of goals that this man has got. Well, he's added another to the collection. Fine finish into the bottom right corner, and 18 minutes in, we actually were made to pay after some sloppy defending, and Rafa Mir was the man to pull Wolves back level. Now, in the past, when we've been in these type of games, we've not really done well when we've conceded a goal like that to equalise. So this probably would have been one of those games last season where we would have ended up sloppily, ended up with a draw, or maybe even lost the game. But I sensed a different type of Bournemouth here, different one to that played Newcastle earlier on in the season, lost 4-2 when we conceded 4 goals from Belotti. And we didn't have to wait too long to go back in front. Kai Havertz with the finish. And in fact, just after the half-an-hour mark, the save from Onana here. I spoke about Alisson being the man to save Liverpool earlier and why you pay the big bucks for goalkeepers. Well, that's why we paid the big bucks for Onana. What a save that was. And then we ended up making it 3 in the second half. But before that, Martinez, what a save by Roddy. Which we were highlighting goalkeepers here, and that was quality from John Roddy. And actually, it was actually just before the second half. I didn't quite realise that, as they didn't defend the corner. Passing to Martinez. We used the right bumper, I think it is, or the RB on Xbox. Is it R1 on PlayStation? To let the ball run through his legs. And he then finished it off. So I really like that skill. If you're not using it, I recommend trying it out. You kind of have to put a bit on the passes, though, so it does, in fact, get there. So they can actually let it run. But yeah, it's pretty good to use in and around the penalty area to open up the space for the shots. And as if he can do nothing wrong, he's also got another one, another hat-trick. And it's an audacious overhead kick as well. Almada, it's not a great delivery, but I mean, anything that Lautaro Martinez seems to be touching at the moment just turns to a goal. It doesn't matter what he does, it always seems to end up in the back of the net. And again, it did exactly that there. So another match ball for Martinez to take home. A minute from time. This was the goal I was speaking about earlier. Look at this for a passing sequence. Just 1 touch, 2 touch stuff at max. And it was eventually finished off by that man again, Lautaro, for him to find the 5th of the afternoon. I believe grab his 4th goal, was it? Was it 4 or 3? He definitely got a hat-trick, but I can't remember if it was 4. or 3 goals in the end. I mean, whatever game we play, he just scores goals for fun. Just for fun. It was 4. And you can see he had 10 attempts. A lot of those are coming in and around the penalty area just to see what I could do with long shots and such. But ultimately, he's just insane. However, we will see how the new patch kind of affects him. Because obviously the new difficulty and whatnot, I was struggling to score goals on the Road to Glory save with it. So if that's the case, I might have the same thing here in this career mode. But as we end off the day anyway, guys, that brings it to a close. 25 games played. We're into second place, fighting with Everton to try and take this Premier League title. And we're not even completely out of it yet. There's teams in and around us as well who are still in with a shout. So we have to keep going, keep grinding out results. And come the end of the season, we will hopefully have lifted the Premier League trophy for the first time. You've also got PSG coming up in the Champions League. I've yet to decide if I'm going to be playing those games, so we'll see what that brings next time out. But a massive thank you for watching this episode. If you did enjoy it, a like would be greatly appreciated. A huge thank you as well for all of the support on the channel. I can't ask for any more than what you guys give me, so thank you so much for that. If you are new around here, like what you see, hit that subscribe button down below. I'll try to get the next episode out in the series pretty soon when I've got time to be able to record these. Until then, though, have a great day, have a great week, and I'll see you all again soon. Adios.